Michael Saylor was already warning people about investing back in 2012, and now he's doing it again with Bitcoin, but no one is listening to him. The fact is, we're getting a lot of news about debt, discussions about everything falling apart, and topics like de-dollarization or deindustrialization in Germany. And that's the dystopian stuff. Our current world currency is collapsing right before our eyes. And on the other hand, there's the euphoria from the latest Bitcoin price movements, and it looks like Bitcoin is about to shoot up to $1 million per Bitcoin. Michael Saylor was recently in the news and said that Bitcoin will keep rising forever. His idea? As long as you can print money fiat currencies like the dollar or euro, you can pump that into Bitcoin, invest it in Bitcoin. The more money flows in, the higher the price goes. According to Michael Saylor, Bitcoin is infinite. Fiat is not. And this happens every day, and people only realize it when prices rise and they think, if only I had invested in Bitcoin earlier. Bitcoin is clearly heading for $1 million per coin, but many people don't want to hear that or don't bother with it because they think it will never happen. And when it happens, they regret it, rush in, and drive the prices even higher for the early adopters. Digital scarcity. You might understand that in theory, but not truly. Every day, companies announce that they want to put, for example, 800 million, a billion, or $4 billion into Bitcoin, that they want to buy Bitcoin. They buy it and never want to give it up again. They are waiting for higher prices and plan to stake it, for example, so that they never have to sell. Samson Moe believes that we are not too late to invest in Bitcoin. You can still get Bitcoin for under $200,000 per Bitcoin. Samson Moe reminds us. ETFs and Bitcoin treasury companies are currently soaking up the supply. And why are institutions buying so aggressively right now? Because there isn't enough Bitcoin for everyone. Soon there will be zero Bitcoin left on the crypto exchanges. The supply of Ether on exchanges is at its lowest since 2015. Companies are buying up everything before ETF staking is allowed, which is exactly what BlackRock is planning right now, and they have filed an application on this very topic with the US Securities and Exchange Commission. You need to know, 3 companies own 88% of the US stock market, and one of them is BlackRock. And they're buying more and more Bitcoin. Soon we might have 100 or 200 companies owning 95% of all Bitcoin. The whales already control 95% of Bitcoin, and soon it will be 97 or even 99% of all Bitcoin. The public will realize there isn't enough for everyone, and then they'll be furious because they didn't take action. But people heard about Bitcoin in 2010 and did nothing. When Bitcoin was at $100, it dropped down to $1. Then they laughed. When it was at $1,200, Bitcoin fell to $100. They laughed when it dropped from 10,000 to 3,000. Nobody wanted it. This keeps happening over and over again. There is never enough Bitcoin for everyone. There aren't just 21 million people on the planet. For example, if someone buys 3 Bitcoin, they're taking them from others. If someone has 30 or 3,000, they're taking them from thousands of others. When Bitcoin hits $1 million, remember this moment. Do everything you can to remember. You had the chance, so when did you get in? That will hurt a lot of people. Take the opportunity now. The supply is shrinking fast. There isn't enough Bitcoin for everyone. Many will regret it. Understand your place in the market, what you can do now, how much you can earn, how much Bitcoin will be worth in the future, and what proper investing looks like. Hopefully, you'll make the most of it before it becomes out of reach. 67% of Americans don't have access to $500. We're completely broke. It's similar in Germany. And what do you think about $5,000? 85% wouldn't have that. And if they did, they'd have to pay rent, buy groceries, and so on instead of investing in Bitcoin. That's why the rich are now buying up everything massively while others aren't paying attention or simply can't buy. But you should pay attention now and listen to. And now listen to a video clip from Michael Saylor from 2012 about investing.
Like worth $3 billion 12 years ago and then went to $600 billion. If you ask me, Apple Computer's going to $2,000 a share, right? I mean, I'd be very, very long in that company. Whoever is selling that stock must be a moron, right? I mean, this is a company that's actually going to have 4 billion devices out there. If they replace them once every 4 years, they're going to sell 1 billion devices a year. And the thing that people, they just don't get it, right? You either get it or you don't. I'm going to come back to your PC question. I don't know a lot about PCs. I've bought 10,000, 20,000 PCs in my life. I've got 3,000 sitting under my desks. You put a Dell computer under a desk. You don't care that it's loud and it's hot and it's a power hog and it's ugly and it's heavy. And it's like an ugly beige cabinet with screws showing. You don't give a crap. You just want it to be $400 or $500, okay? You put a phone in your pocket and you sleep on it or next to it. You care if it's hot, you care what it looks like, you care about the battery life, you care about the radio. This is an iPhone 5. This runs 10 times faster than an iPhone 4. There isn't an 8-year-old on the planet who doesn't want an iPhone 5, right? Who wants to wait 42 seconds to watch something download instead of 2 seconds? Nobody, right? You don't have to be a genius to run Apple Computer. You just have to make the product a little lighter every year, a little more elegant, make it a better radio, make the battery better. And then I had dinner with, one of the 10 richest people in the world 3 nights ago, or maybe 5 nights ago. We had dinner for 4 hours, and he talked half the time, and I talked the other half. And at one point, and he's much more successful than I am, I understand that, by the way. As I said, it's like sometimes you have to do more than just have opinions to make money, right? There's a lot of execution involved in all that. But I have opinions so-so. He said to me, Apple Computer, can these guys hold their prices? Aren't that they're going to follow the model of the PC industry, and aren't their prices going to taper down? Their 40% margin is going to become 30, then 35, then 20? And it's another example of people just knowing enough to hurt themselves, right? If you're going to know a subject, you better really know the subject, because being, a dilettante and only knowing part of it is just enough to get yourself into trouble. And I said, no, they don't have to taper down. I mean, if you go to Francian, this is the benefit of having seen enough. You go to France and you see Bernard Arnault runs a company, LVMH. They're selling handbags for $4,000, $3,000, $2,500 each. This is an item that women see as fashion, and it's 10,000 years old. And for 10,000 years, no, the prices haven't gone down after 10,000 years. If you actually care about this, how many women own a $300 pair of shoes? How many have two? How many have more than two, right? The truth is, when the technology shifts from being a utilitarian vocational brick that I just put under my desk, nobody cares about that, to becoming a piece of clothing, right? A fashion statement, an extension of your personality, a piece of jewelry. And iPhones, iPads, they're somewhere between clothing, jewelry, and an accessory. At that point, they can maintain that price point indefinitely. They can sell you another $500 device every 2 years, forever, because everyone has 5. And the first billion people already have that, and the rest of the world is catching up. So I think you're going to see there will be a wider variety of offerings. You'll see cheaper tablets, and the cheaper the $100 tablet will go to Pakistan and to the 700 million peasants in China, and more power to them. That means those 700 million peasants are going to get a college education and a master's in computer science. And I'll probably end up hiring 20,000 of them. And I'll pay them $5,000 a year, which is 5 times more than $1,000 a year. And then I'll pay them $10,000 a year. And the entire society will go from 2 billion to 3 billion to 5 billion white-collar workers. And as their discretionary income increases, they're going to buy more and more expensive things. And anyone sitting in the middle of that, controlling the software application networks that hold all the asset value, those companies are going to benefit tremendously.
He was talking about Apple stock, and now we see how he talks about Bitcoin. The fact is, Michael Saylor keeps buying more and more Bitcoin. Bitcoin may have just changed forever and no one noticed. And now just imagine it's Monday morning and suddenly there's a new prediction of $1 million per Bitcoin. Tom Lee from Fund Street said on CNBC, Bitcoin could be worth $1 million per Bitcoin in the next few years because it's digital gold and only needs to reach 25% of the gold market. And that would be huge. But for me, that's not the most important thing. Instead, it's about the Genius Act and new laws in the US that promote crypto and of course Bitcoin as well. We're missing the bigger picture right now. The hype is heating up. Emirates, the largest airline in the Middle East, now accepts Bitcoin payments, and Google searches for buy Bitcoin are slightly increasing. And maybe a retail boom like in 2017 will start soon, but somehow retail investors are still relatively quiet at the moment. Many are instead buying stocks like those of MicroStrategy. And remember, if we repeat what happened in 2017, Bitcoin increased 20-fold in 2017, and I believe that will happen again despite institutions, or perhaps even because of them. Rumble, a $3 billion competitor to YouTube, is allowing 58 million users to buy and sell Bitcoin. VanEck is predicting $180,000 per Bitcoin in this cycle. Bitcoin ETFs have reached $160 billion in assets in 18 months. Gold ETPs took 22 years to reach $200 billion. Bitcoin will soon flip gold. That would mean $1 million per coin. Mike Gazella has bought another 6,000 Bitcoin. They now have over 670,000 Bitcoin. Bitcoin is flying off the exchanges like hotcakes. The supply is dropping. Tom Lee says there is little Bitcoin available and a price above $100,000 could trigger a race, which is exactly what we are seeing right now. ETFs are absorbing more Bitcoin than people realize. And if you had bought at the top of every bubble in the past 2013, 17, 2021, you would still be up 420% if you had held on. So hold your Bitcoin for the long term, don't sell, borrow against it. BladeRock is buying Bitcoin. Their CEO said, Traditional markets need to connect with crypto, connect with Bitcoin, just like with the ETFs. BlackRock already holds 3% of all Bitcoin, and during corrections, they keep buying aggressively. So take action now. If you want to achieve financial independence through Bitcoin and crypto now, click the link in the description below the video, even if you just want to store your Bitcoin and crypto securely. I wish you a great day. The important thing is that you act now.